Yo, yo, yo. Hey, guys, welcome back to another awesome edition of the Best Practices Show podcast. My name is Kirk Behrendt, and thank you, first of all, for just showing up. And as always, we're just going to give you the opportunity, give us the opportunity, give all of us the opportunity to learn from some of the best that have done some cool stuff. Today, I bring in Dr. Bill Crinzi, great friend of mine, great client of ours, who just got off of PPOs. And he chronicles his journey and the mindset and his fears and what he did. Did he send a letter? Did he not send a letter? What happened with his team? What happened with his patients? What he's doing now? He shares all of those details as I had him here in the studio. It is fantastic. So hope you guys enjoy the episode. We'll see you soon. Hey guys, welcome back to the Best Practices Show podcast. This is a special day for me. So I've got Dr. Bill Crinzi in here, who I've known you for a long time.
Sure have.
I knew you, or actually we didn't know each other well, but prior to the dental consulting days, because I was just talking about Bob Pop. Gave me my first dental opportunity, and I actually had hair back then. And so then I disappeared for a little while, went into dental consulting, came back, met you, and you've done an amazing job. And so if you're listening to the podcast today, I want you to hear this. Bill's a good human being, great human being. He's got an awesome practice, and we're going to chronicle your journey in dentistry. And today we're going to be talking about your jump away from PPOs.
Sounds good.
Okay, now, this is like a personal thing for you. I want you to talk, first of all, I want people to know who you are. So, tell them who Dr. Bill Crinzi is. Who are you?
Oh, geez. Who's Bill? Bill Crinzi, man of faith, married to his wife, Gina, for 36 years.
Yeah.
Got 4 wonderful children, 4 wonderful granddaughters with a 5th grandson on the way.
Wow.
We're excited about that. My 2 daughters work in the practice with me. Been practicing for 36 years in New Berlin, Wisconsin, a suburb of Milwaukee. Just excited about dentistry still after 36 years. I love it.
That's pretty cool. 36 years, still excited.
Yeah.
And so, your practice, how'd you describe your practice? You have 2 other dentists in your practice.
Correct.
So describe it.
So we're a general family practice. I have 2 wonderful partners, Sarah Cornell and Tara Gerner. Tara's been with us since 2015, and Sarah's been with us since 2007. Wonderful partner. Each one of us have a gift of how we manage or lead the practice. I'm kind of the CFO. Sarah's kind of the CIO. She's the information techie guy, and Tara takes care of all the HR stuff. So she's the COO. So between the 3 of us, we meld together pretty good. I'm so blessed right now, Kurt. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you, buddy.
Yeah.
And if you're listening and you're a young dentist or a mature dentist, this is a big deal, the PPO journey. Can you just talk about this? You're pretty involved in dentistry. Why is the PPO journey important in dentistry right now?
Well, I mean, it's taken over. I mean, there's a definite divide right now, and so you're either going to go with the PPO, the corporate side, or you're going to try to stay your mom and pa shop, and that's kind of where we're at. Back in 2005 when I don't know if I want to say that. I'm going to say it. Dixie Dental approached us, and back then it was a good deal to get on board and network because their fees were our fees, and it was wonderful, and it was all great. And then each year things got a little less on their reimbursement side, and then it started getting kind of scary. And then we started working hard, and patients were coming in left and right, and just kind of frazzled in the practice, and not working hard, but not making a lot. So we had to kind of refocus.
Yeah, and so, you're also, you love continuing education.
Absolutely.
You've been out to Spear, you've been all those kinds of things. Your practice has grown, and so take us through the evolution from Dixie, as your practice grew, did you add more?
Sure. Back in 2007 when we started, we had a pretty good sized practice, and it was pretty much got to about 45% of our practice was with, we'll call it Dixie Dental.
Okay.
And, it was okay. We did have a large staff, and we were kind of spinning our wheels, and we actually approached you guys and did some work with you with ACT and got our systems in order, but still we were just in the fog.
Yeah.
And it wasn't what we wanted to do. And then COVID hit, and then we said, all right, we were shut down here in Wisconsin for 10 weeks. And that by the governor. So at that time, I sat down with my two partners and I said, this is time to pull the plug. And at that time, we had 45% of our practice was, basically a DSO, and we were in network, and it was time to pull the plug. So we sent the letter to the dental insurance company saying we're out. And we were afraid.
Okay.
I'm the mature guy in the practice. It didn't affect me as much as Tara had been out only 5 years. She was real nervous about it. And Sarah, kind of middle of the road, she's been out, almost 15. So she was like, okay, I know it's time. But, gosh, it was scary. So, we were worried about losing patients. We were worried about losing revenue. And we were worried about losing staff.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing because we had a great staff. We had about 22 people in our 22 team members, and they're all wonderful. But when COVID hit, we knew when we came back we had to get rid of some people. Yeah. And that kind of helped facilitate the fact that we knew we were going to be downsizing when we pulled the plug. And we did.
Yeah. And
but that helped us, just get leaner.
Yeah. Yeah. So go into a little bit more basic, fundamental fears of your team, because a lot of times you're going to have to communicate with your team a lot about what this is all about. What did you say to them? So you came back, and obviously COVID screwed things up for everybody. I mean, there were things I wanted before COVID. After COVID, I was like, no, not anymore. That really galvanized where you were at in your career. And you obviously had to communicate something to your team. What did you say to them when you came back?
That's a great question, Kurt. The staff was kind of looking to do it even before COVID hit. Really? They knew things were kind of hectic, and they were like, let's get this together. We were spinning, but we weren't hitting bonus as much as we were back when we first signed on, and things were, they were seeing that things weren't great. So they were all in on it. So they weren't as much as afraid as the leadership was.
Okay. So yeah. So that's what I think. That's one of the lessons here is that you're thinking that your team's going to freak out, but if you're doing the right things and you're poised to do this, they're going to push you, right? And did they push you?
They pushed, and about 18 months before COVID, we started posturing ourselves to do it. Obviously, we started identifying what percentage of our practice was in network. And we had a way of, with our practice software, we would identify the people who were in network by capitalizing all the first names and last names of the patients that were in network. Okay. So in the morning huddle, we could identify how many patients a day that, were in network. 45% today, 33% today, 56% today. Wow. So this, everybody was actually, seeing the factual amount of how many patients were in network. Right. So at that point, that was how we started. And then we started maybe one or two patients. We would start having a little bit of discussion about, what we might be thinking about leaving. They're not letting us have a personal relationship with you. They're interrupting, the care that we can give you. And that kind of conversation we had with our patients, and we couldn't have it all the time. So, if one thing, the hygienists were afraid that we were going to run behind if we we're going to have this conversation with every patient, you know. Right. So, obviously, that kind of was a discussion that we'd have in a team meeting. But for the most part, that was how we got started. Okay. And the fears kind of dissipated. The only thing that happened after we got going was You got to have some thick-skinned people in the admin area, because you will get some patients that will get a little bit frustrated with why did this happen, what happened.
Okay, go back to this, because this is a big deal, because a lot of people, I told you we had 50 doctors in here a couple of weeks ago, and so it's really fun to watch this dynamic, because 40% of them are off of PPOs. 60% of them are still getting off of PPOs, and it's not like it's an easy thing. Like, you deal with a lot of stuff. Right. So I want you to talk about a couple things. Go back to that.
Sorry.
What's the inherent fear for a lot of people that are listening? Like, when Bill, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a big percentage.
That is.
What's your fear? Like, distill it for us.
People aren't going to like me.
No, but you don't understand. I'm in New Berlin, Wisconsin. Like, it's different here. People don't have money, right?
Yeah, they do. And they'll go down the street, though. But for the most part, there are a lot of patients that, if insurance didn't cover their treatment, they weren't going to have it done. And we tried. We knew that was us and how we presented. We had to create that value for the treatment that we were doing for patients. Right. But still, there's still that small percentage of patients that'll just say, if they're not paying for it, I'm not going to do it, and they'll go down the road to an in-network person. Yeah.
Okay. Now I want to keep staying on this road.
All right.
So as you're talking to patients,
I know I bounce around.
No. I love it. I bounce around more than anybody.
I know.
Because I love this journey. So now you're talking to patients, you're talking to them in hygiene. Your first thought is they're going to get really upset and they're just going to walk out. Like, give us a little glimpse of how did they react? Face-to-face and via letter. How did they react?
Well, face-to-face, most people were pretty accepting, because they didn't want to confront at that point. They had to take it home and digest it a little bit, I think, before. And then if they weren't going to stay with us, they just wouldn't let us know. Okay.
And so, on this journey, the first week is probably pretty freaky for everybody. Everyone?
Very much. Very much. So,
how long before you get out of the freaky stage?
6 months.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to say this and tell me if this is true.
Yeah.
The panic never goes away 100%. There's always true. Now, you can argue with me. I don't want you to agree with me.
Yeah.
Like, there's always a little bit of, because I've had many people go off of insurance and they say this, does it ever go away? Like, and I go, what? Like, you got a little bit of like, am I doing the right thing here? Is that true for you or not?
Maybe. I guess so. Once we got all our existing patients to come through the cycle once, and they know the policy now, that was where the fear was with me. I didn't want to lose those existing patients. How dare them? They were my buddies. I had some friends that left. So we had 20% leave, and that that's what they told us was going to happen. And that's exactly what happened. My numbers, I think, pre-OON, we were about 5,800 active patients, and we were down to 4,400.
Okay, so you lost
20%.
20%?
Yeah.
Okay. Now go back to the word friends.
Okay.
So you have somebody in your house. This always happens to a dentist. So you're having your friends over from the cul-de-sac.
Yep.
And they're like, dude, you dropped my insurance.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm a dental consultant.
All right.
Okay, so I have a kid that came to my house, and he's friends with my daughter. And he's like, what did you do with our dental office? We can't go to our dental office anymore. I'm like, buddy, you don't understand. Like, he works 1 out of 4 days for free. Like, I'm trying to help him be a better person. So did you have any tell us about a difficult conversation with a friend?
Well, no, you know what? You can still come to see us. We still accept the benefits. It's just the program's different. Okay. So what we found out is a lot of employers, even if you're out of network, they actually pay 100% with the way they're contracted.
Explain that. You have to explain that.
Okay. All right.
You have to explain that.
So we have some school districts here in the Milwaukee area that have Dixie Dental.
Okay.
And they have. We were in network and receiving less money because we are in network contracted fees.
Okay.
And I can say that we're accepting $79 for a pro fee.
Right.
All right. We go out of network, we get our normal fee, which is $110.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You go out of with the school districts that were paying 100%. we got the $110 and not the $69 once we went out of network.
Yeah.
Now there's other employers that are contracted differently. They only get 60%.
Right.
But and the big thing was obviously the payment goes to the patient.
Right.
So we had every patient. That was the biggest thing, and we made sure all the patients knew that they had to pay up front first, and so they pay up front when they're there at the time of service.
Okay. Now there's a couple versions of this, and I want you to explain how it works. So, like, the question is, do you file as a courtesy, or do you go to the extreme where no, we don't do any of that?
We file as a courtesy.
Okay.
And we'll fight for the medical necessity if they're going to deny benefit because they're not thinking that it's a medical necessity. We'll go to bat for the patients. You betcha. I'll write a letter. I'll get on the phone. I'll talk to the consultant if I need to.
Okay, so I'm a patient. Tell me what you're gonna explain, because I love this. Dude, you're talking my jam. So I want people to hear, paraphrase or just philosophically. I'm a patient. How would you describe that to me?
Look, and we're going on a network. Doesn't mean that we're gonna lose. You can't come to see us. You're still gonna get benefits. We don't know what the percentage is because every employer is contracted with the dental insurance company differently. So it could be 60% of our fee, it could be 80% of our fee, it could be 100% of our fee, and nothing's changed. The only thing that's changed is that you have the payment's going to be going to you at home. All right, so you have to pay us, take care of your fees at the time of service, and then within a couple weeks after we submit the claim for you, they'll pay you.
That's awesome. Okay, now I got to ask you, once you pull the trigger on this, there's other things that happen. One of them is a potential smear campaign that you see, people say things about you, or Dixie Dental says things about you. Everybody gets it. I have copies of these.
Yep.
Did it happen to you?
We had 2 bad reviews in 2 years.
Okay. From patients?
From patients.
Okay.
So we had to,
but what about the insurance company itself? Do they send letters to your insured patients?
So
saying Bill Crinzi's a bad person.
Great question. Okay. So I know that.
Hey, I'm 52. I don't care anymore. I know.
I know that a lot of the experts tell you that when you're going out of network, don't send a letter to your patients. Make sure you have that one-on-one contact.
Right.
We couldn't do that with 5,800 patients.
Right.
There's no way we could do that. So we had to send a letter.
Right.
And we did, and I have a copy of the letter. You can post it on your if you want. That's fine. Yeah. But we sent the letter out, and then we had that center. That was our backbone. That was our foundation of our backbone of the patients who were going to complain about it. Right. We sent a letter out. Oh, I didn't get it. Well, we can look online. Yeah, is this your email? Yes, it is. Well, it did. You did get it, and then we've got it all over the reception area. We got the letter posted, so people are seeing it as they come in, so they know that we've gone out of network.
Yeah, and but the insurance company itself, did they send a letter to your patients?
So we did approach that in our letter.
Yeah.
So we told the insurance company, we told the patients that the insurance company may tell you that you can no longer see us, and I simply said, this simply is not true. We can still have our relationship, and it's going to be one-on-one now. It's not going to be, on the head of some consultant that's sitting behind a desk.
Right. Okay. I love this. Gosh, you are just, I want to make this a 5-hour podcast. Can we? Okay. I have so many questions. Can I just ask?
Keep going, man.
Okay. So you don't have to share dollar percentages, but percentage write-off. How much were you writing off?
All right. The big time. Let's see. In fact, I brought a report.
You can look at it if you want.
It was back in 2018. I looked at a report, and I looked at a month where we produced over 300,000 and 75,000 was written off.
Okay.
And I said that's enough.
Yeah.
And that's when we started identifying that we needed to. What's our first thing? And that's when we started. Not accepting any new patients unless they from Dixie Dental unless they had a family member.
Okay.
And then that's when we started identifying all those patients in the morning huddle.
In the morning huddle. In the morning huddle, talk about that. Go back to that.
Okay.
Because the morning huddle is really your key piece to orchestrate change. Can you explain why? Because you have a big practice.
Yeah.
You can't just say this once and go, everyone's got it. There are going to be moments, true or false, where you as a leader, you're like, we've already talked about this 3 times. You've just got to be tremendously consistent. And I love what you said. The morning huddle is the instrument, right?
For this part, it was. I mean, when we looked at our schedule and all those patients with capital letters, we're like, wow, today is a day that oh boy, and the hygienist would take a lead too, and they'd start having a little discussion about it also.
That's
so they
awesome.
knew some before we get there. So
yeah, okay. So you talked about the window where you're in the panic for 6 months. How does it sound now? Like. You worked this morning. Yeah. What were your hours? I love this.
7 to 3.
What?
Yeah, 7 to 3.
You can't work 7 to 3. No one will come to your practice.
Yeah, stop it.
Please,
stop it.
I love you and I love this.
Well, I love that you brought this to us.
Why?
So.
Why do you like 7 to 3?
Well, it's number 2 of the core values, work-life balance.
Yeah, but 7 to 3, no one's going to come to your office.
Yeah, they come. That 7 o'clock patients show up, Kurt.
How long?
The 6 o'clock patients at night don't show up.
Okay.
They'll cancel during the day, but those 7 o'clock patients, they have their lives together and they want that appointment. It's great.
Okay.
People show up.
If you're a young dentist and you're driving to work right now, or if you're cleaning the garage or cutting the grass, I want you to hear what Bill just said. That is a life-changing moment.
Absolutely.
True or false? Why?
Absolutely. I've got a great work-life balance. Kurt, when I got out of school, I worked 5.5 days a week. I worked 4.5 in the practice. I worked a half, and then I worked a day as a faculty member getting out of school, and then I worked on Saturdays, and I did that for 15 years. I mean, that was my baby boomer. Our work ethic is there. I mean, I have 2 traditional old Italian parents, and you're going to work, and that's what I did. So I did that for 15 years, and then another 10 years when I wasn't at faculty anymore. I worked as a dental consultant for another day.
Yeah.
So, but then I pulled back on Saturdays, and things were good. But I was working evenings. We were working till 8 too.
That's crazy.
I know. So
Do you miss it? Do you miss it?
Stop it. I miss the fact that I didn't get to do homework and hang out with my kids that much at night.
Well, I'm joking, but I'm not joking. Like, this is an important thing. Yeah. And I've done stupid stuff in my, it's okay to do these things, but to repeat them is the hard part. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm way more thick-headed than anyone listening to this or you or whatever. I have to hear something 30 times before I'll go. And my wife will tell me it 20 times, but I got to go to Scottsdale to hear somebody say something and spend money. And I come back and I go, whoa, this is amazing. Like something. And she's like, okay, you flew all the way to Scottsdale. How much did it cost? And somebody told you what I've been telling you for 10 years and you're going to do it now. Yep. And I'm like, yeah, but they said it differently. Yep. So I'm just saying this, like, time is life. Like, I mean, you and I are, I mean, you're in better shape than I am, but like we're both playing the back 9. Yeah. And time matters, right?
It does.
Yeah.
And I'm appreciating what I'm able to do right now. Sarah, who is 20 years my junior now, and she's gone to 3 days a week too.
That's awesome.
And
your associate,
my partner.
Your partner,
They're all partners.
They're all partners.
And so she's getting her kids are all in those fun stages of athletics and stuff. So she's getting able to enjoy all that stuff. So,
yeah. And Sarah, if you're listening, I meant partner. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Right. So it's good.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to my original question because I have more. I have more distractions in my brain than anyone. So the point I was going to was today you work 7 to 3. Tell us about the conversation around why don't you accept my insurance? Like what happens now compared to what was different? So if I come to your office today and I go, why don't you accept my insurance, or how does this work? How do you guys describe it today?
When patients call and they tell us they have Dixie Dental, we just tell them that we are an out-of-network provider. What that means to you is that we have expect payment at the time of service, and that's basically it. Mm-hmm. And all our new patients, they're just ingrained with that. There is nothing special, Kurt. There's no magic word after that. We had to retrain our old patients, yes, but now we're 2.5 years out of this now, so we don't have to retrain those patients anymore. It's just office policy, and they're accepting it, and that's it.
Okay. Share what you want about this. You don't have to go into extreme details, but like, how much better is your practice now that you're out? Did it die? Are you making less money? Are you struggling?
All right. So I was working 4.5 days a week. Sarah was working 4 days a week. We both gone down to 3 days a week.
Okay.
All right. Our youngest partner, Tara's work schedule has stayed the same. All right. Coming back from COVID, we couldn't go. We didn't come back 100% with hygiene. We had 4 hygiene chairs working. All right. We couldn't do that because you kind of ramped up coming out of COVID. So that was a little over 2 years ago, and so at that point, we slowly got our hygiene program back on schedule. All right. But the hygienist, what do I say? I mean, I had 4 hygienists who have been with me for over 30 years.
Okay.
And it was pretty much, and 2 of them almost 35 years. And in the last year and a half, 4 of them have retired. Okay, so we've had a hard time finding a hygienist. So our hygiene practice is working at about 75% capacity right now.
Right.
And that's a problem because we've got patients that are still trying to get in. We got patients that we're scheduling out over 10 months now. 10 months at least. And so because of the workforce shortage, it's tough to get hygiene. Right. So that's our biggest thing right now. We could be killing it, but we have not had any revenue income shortage because of, and I'm working 1 less day a week. Sarah's working 1 less day a week, and we probably got a chair and a half a day less hygiene than we did prior.
God, I love you guys. Okay, so that's the hygiene schedule. Yep. Tell me about what's the restorative schedule look like? Restorative
schedule, prior to it, we used to double book each doctor. We'd have two doctors at the office at the same time. We'd have 2 columns and double book. And now we have 2 doctors, and we have a high production column, and then we share a middle emergency column. Okay. We were the old rock, pebble, sand appointments. So all our rock appointments are single booked, and then all that middle column is the pebble and the sand appointments.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I got to ask you this. This is one of my favorite questions about anything. You are very passionate about helping dentists. Like you are. Like I love it. Like you're so committed to it. When you talk to like a lot of the things that I learned about just what's going on in Wisconsin, you tell me. And I'm like, no way.
Yeah, stop.
And you're passionate about it. Like, I love that. Like, you care about this profession. You care about these young dentists. What do most of them get wrong? As you're talking, because you're on this journey, you've lived 9 lives doing it. When you talk to the younger dentists, so you're a part of an incredible study club that you get to see all dentists of all kinds, really young ones, and they're awesome. They're super. When you're talking to them, what do they get wrong fundamentally?
When it comes to insurance?
Yeah, to moving away from PPOs.
They're just simply afraid of losing revenue, losing patients. Yeah. I don't think none of them thought about losing staff. I don't think too many of them knew that. Right. That's what we were worried about the most. Because, I wasn't worried about losing revenue at the time. Right. I was a little bit worried about losing patients, not from a revenue standpoint, but these are people I thought liked me.
Right.
They don't care.
Right.
They'll have a nice conversation with you, but right. You know what? If insurance wasn't covering things, they would go down the road. But when you did good dentistry and you take care of them, you show that you have good skill, care, and judgment, compassion when you're doing your treatment. Those patients, and they're coming back. They are coming back. Yeah. It took a little while. They go down the road for 2 or 3 appointments, and then they come back, and it's. They're very appreciative, and they're willing to pay a little bit more out of pocket because of that.
Yeah, and I have so many questions. Okay, yep. So
that's what they get wrong. I think they're just afraid.
Okay.
They're afraid of getting beat down.
Right. Okay, so one of the things that I run into is I'm talking to dentists, and they have, I ask them questions, and then you're like, wow, that's fascinating. So I'll ask a dentist or 2 dentists that are partners, like, how many patients do you have? Like, we have 5,500 patients. I'm like, okay, how many dentists? They'll go, 2. Here's my question. How many patients do you really need? You guys have learned a lot. For you, how many patients do you need? based on what you've learned?
When you say patients, you're talking active patients?
Total active patients, which you've seen in the last 18 months.
Yep. So 18 months, that's what we identify as active patients.
Yeah.
I think
per doctor?
1,000 to 1,200.
Okay. And remember, Bill works 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
And, Sarah works 3 days a week. And Tara, so you're talking 1,000 patients per doctor. How many in hygiene? I mean, if you had to guess.
Right now, we're probably getting close to 3 chairs of 8 hours. So we're looking at, what do I want to say, 120, probably 240, 300 hygiene patients a month.
Yeah. Okay. I love this. So that's my point. Is like, again, if you're listening, like, you don't need to be everyone's dentist.
Right.
Can you talk about that? Like, you're in Wisconsin. You're in New Berlin. It's a growing area.
Right.
Why wouldn't you want to be everyone's dentist?
Well, I do kind of want to be everybody's dentist,
but you're looking for a certain patient, though.
Yeah, you are. You want somebody who, and that's the beauty of where we're at in New Berlin. It's a middle class community.
Yeah.
People appreciate their teeth. They're willing to spend a little extra time and effort to maintain things, and they will listen to you if that trust and value is there.
Right.
And if people leave, it's our fault. We did something wrong along the way. We didn't communicate well to them. We didn't express the treatment plan or the needs that they need well enough, and that's why they left. So it falls back on us, the leaders in the practice.
Yeah.
Our team will just do whatever we want them to do. But basically, if we didn't back a hygienist who wanted to do a rip planing, I hear it all the time. Yeah.
Okay, go back to that. You're opening up cans of worms for everybody.
I know it. I could go on forever here.
I love you, man.
I am bouncing.
I got to have to text my wife, like, I'm not coming home for a while. So here's the deal. So talk about this, the alignment between 3 partners. So we have a lot of practices now. Yeah. We have practices that are single doctor practice. We now have doctors we have 6 doctor practices. You have a 3 doctor partnership. How important is the alignment of the 3 of you and its impact?
Immensely important.
Why?
Because if the team doesn't see that we're together, if they see mom and dad are arguing and getting a divorce, they're not going to back us. They're not going to be all in. They're not going to follow us. So they need to know that we are all on the same page.
Right. So give me a specific, anything specifically come to mind, like, and I'll give you a second to think about it. Like, I always say this to my leadership team, like, we don't have to agree. Right. But let's get crazy aligned right now. So, because we're going to cascade this, and they're going to look at our eyes. They're not going to look at our lips. Like, they're going to look at our eyes. Like, are we all in? And Sarah and I, who've been married for 23 years, our kids actually exploit us. They're like, they look back and forth, like, who's the weakest one here? Like, I'm just going to totally work the weakest one.
Sure.
So how does that work in your practice?
Well, I think there was a learning curve in the beginning when each of my current partners joined, and there was a lot of asking questions earlier, and we still do. I mean, we look at radiographs and cases together and new patient stuff every day together, and we grow on it together, and I think that's the value of it. I mean, and we bounce stuff off. We make sure we have a partners, even though we all have different schedules, we make sure we have a partners meeting scheduled regularly. And that's important that we talk about, and we'll write down stuff that the staff's concerned about or what we need to discuss. And it's communication. That's where we're doing. That's where we keep it together. Yeah,
I absolutely love it. Okay, so now that you're out of network, here's my question. What's next? Like, where are you going next? I love watching what you do because you're always going to do something cool. And I'll never forget, I spoke to the Wisconsin Dental Forum, which was a great group. So you're sitting in the back. I come sit with you and your 2 partners. Like, I gave you a big hug like I always do. And you go, dude, we're out. And like, I saw the excitement on your face. Like, I'm just so excited, and it's almost like you escaped, and now I want to know what's on the future road for Bill Crinzi. What are you doing?
Well, I'm 61 years old.
Okay.
Oof.
But you're a young
I am.
61.
You know,
you're
and
healthy.
Again, and that's the thing. I went from 4 days a week to 4.5 days a week to 3 days a week. Okay. And everybody, I have friends that I'm golfing with, and I said, when are you going to pull the plug? And I said, hey, you know what? I just went from 4.5 days a week to 3 days a week. I feel retired right now, and I'm working straight through 7 to 3, 3 days a week. That's it. Yeah. And I love it. I said, I can do this for another 10 years. Yeah. No doubt. As long as I'm healthy and as long as my partners think I'm valuable and I'm not just taking up space and I'm still worth something there, I'm going to keep going.
You got to keep going.
I like it. I love the relationships that I have with my patients.
But why? Tell me why. Why wouldn't you want to just pull the parachute plug at 61, just get the hell out of here?
Oh, I like what I do.
I think
really
that's
do.
Powerful.
And I like my staff. I love my staff. They're wonderful people. I mean, we're a family. I mean, it's, we cry together. We just had 4 people that were with us for 35 years, and they just retired. And it's like, this is tough.
Okay, go back to that.
Okay.
I'm 32 and I'm listening to you. Mm-hmm. What do you want to tell me about this? Like, okay, Bill, you don't understand. Like, this is hard. Like, I got little kids. Like, I want a little bit of what you're saying. Like, give me some advice. I'm 32. And I own my own practice. I just purchased a practice. I have so much debt. You don't understand.
Well, you got to like what you do, and you got to like the people that you're working with.
Yeah.
And you got to continue your education. You got to find a program to go to, and we travel a lot. All 3 of us travel a lot. We're, like you said, you mentioned earlier that we're Spear. Prior to that, we used to go. I used to be. I don't know if you heard of Bill Strupp back in the day.
I love Bill.
Bill Strupp, Howard Chess, and guys in Florida were great. Peter Dawson, my senior part, or my partner that I joined when I was in, he was a big Dawson disciple. So, we grew up just, continuing education. It's not only you learning the clinical aspects and staying on top of what's state of the art there, but it's the people that you meet at these meetings that just keep you refreshed and just keep you going. And, the camaraderie that you get and the discussions that you have at breaks with these people, it's invaluable. Amen. So I would just tell these people to make sure your education doesn't stop at school. And I have friends that, I've been out and they barely went to anything. Mm-hmm. And, they made it. They made it on their own, but they're curmudgeons.
Yeah. You guys were at the last time I ever saw Pete Dawson alive.
Yes, we were. And Pete Dawson gave you one heck of an endorsement, didn't he?
Well, I wasn't there, but stop.
Right.
This is not, no, stop.
Oh, no, I got it. No, I got it.
Stop. That's not the point.
Pete Dawson thinks the world of you, Kurt. And to have a man of that stature give you the compliments you got, that was amazing. The 3 of us looked at each other, Sarah and Tara, and I just went, whoa. Wow. That's pretty awesome. So
I feel grateful. He's an amazing man. And
yes,
I went to his funeral. I told my wife, it was not a good time for us as a family. We were crazy busy, and I had I didn't have a sliver of time. I'd look at my wife. I go, I'm going. Yep. I flew down there, and I was standing in line for 2 hours to pay my respects from somebody from Japan. I'm like, you're from Japan? Yes. How long? 22 hours. Yeah. I go, when are you flying back? Well, I'm going to the airport right now. I'm like, that's ridiculous. And the person said, you don't understand the impact this person had on my life. I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I read his book. It's moving. It's good.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
My point is this, I could be walking down any street at a cool course and I'm going to run into you guys. Yeah. I'm in Kohler. I'm I turn around. Bill, what's up, buddy? How you doing? So,
Vegas, Chicago, wherever.
I think the lesson in that is listen, if you're listening to the podcast, it's not like we're super cool and we hang out with cool people. Just put yourself in the arena. Show up.
Right.
Be there. Make a commitment to be there.
Right.
And actually, now that I think of it, that was Henry Gremian's last day that I saw him alive too.
Wow. Okay.
He passed away unfortunately right after that. Jeez. He spoke right after me or right before me. I can't remember. Right. And I remember giving him a big hug, and that's the last time I saw him. Right. And he was just one of the most brilliant men ever of all time. So. Be there. Just show up. These people impact your lives, and the whole point is to pass this legacy on in a great dental practice. Now, I got one last question. That's probably not true. I probably have 30. Okay. So, this journey, in out, now that you're out of network, what are your days like? How do you feel? Give us some last final perspective on out of network.
Well, we're out of network and we're growing. I mean, We're on the tail end of a remodel that started back in January in our practice. So we've been staying open through that. So we're getting a fresh new look in the practice. Patients are liking that. They're seeing that, we care and, about the way things look about that. We're posturing for another partner.
What?
We've got somebody identified that before they started dental school, and now they're in residency, and we're hoping that everything aligns, and within a short period of time, we already have that fourth desk already milled in with the millwork and the remodel. So
do you go down to 1 day a week?
There's opportunities everywhere.
Yeah.
There's some people in the New Berlin area that are looking to maybe retire and can approach us, and maybe we want to grow with their patients. So
That's
there's
awesome.
lots. I don't want.
You've got options.
You got options.
Options.
Yeah, I am. We're going to travel. My wife and I are going to travel. We like it. I'm a big golfer, so I take a lot of time off in the summer, play a lot of golf tournaments. In the winter, we're going to go places warm a little bit more than we have, so there'll be more travel. So there will be definitely room for another doctor in the practice.
Yeah.
And keep going. So
I love this story, buddy, and again,
it's nothing different than everybody else. It's
but
kind of the dream. And
you know how this works. Like you were like, I was just talking to Bill Robbins before you came in.
Yeah.
And
Bill,
Bill,
he's a good guy.
Oh, Bill reminds me all the time. Kirk, you got to just breathe in every once in a while, because you're going to walk into the room and you're going to be the youngest guy, and then you're going to take another breath, and then you're like middle of the path, and then one day you're going to walk in the room and you're like, I'm the oldest dude in the room, and and like we all have a responsibility to make the campfire better than we found it. You know what I mean? And
Nice.
he taught me that, and I tell
good.
my son that, and he's like, Dad, we don't camp. I'm like, that's not the point.
I know.
Like I
But
think
it means a lot from Bill. He's got that southern accent.
He's
It
got
just
that-
makes that's so endearing when he says some things.
But it's endearing because this profession is near and dear to your heart.
Yeah.
Like it's been an amazing way to create value for people. And so my hope is, if you're listening, like no matter where you're at, everybody's got to start somewhere. You started somewhere, and I don't care if you're 100% PPO. You work yourself up to, 70% PPO. And then, like you said, in the 40% PPO. And then once you have enough confidence and you've got a great team and you've got a great infrastructure, then you can start to execute, and you're going to be okay. Is there anything that we haven't chronicled in your journey that you would say, Kirk, this is important for people to know that are listening about your PPO journey?
No, I just don't be afraid.
Right.
That's it. Just don't be afraid. I think sometimes you get beat down out there, and you're worried about people not liking you and leaving, and that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But if you're doing everything right, you're providing good dentistry, your team is caring and compassionate, those people are going to see that it's not better somewhere else, and it's worth a little extra to come back.
100%. One last question. That's not true. I'm going to lead you with this question.
I know.
So anyone you've ever met that's gone out of network, have you ever met anybody out of network that's like, that was the dumbest thing I've ever done?
No.
Not one?
Not one.
Come on, not even one
No.
person.
No.
That's like, dude, I went out of network and it was terrible.
Yeah. No.
Me neither.
No.
25 years,
I don't know.
never met one.
What's your point?
My point is this is like,
I'm just
we're having fun,
I know.
but we can also empathize, there's a lot on the table. This isn't like changing the wall colors in your office or deciding to do different procedures. This is a major fundamental shift in the way you do business.
Right. Absolutely.
And so your family depends on it. Your team members' family depend on it. Your future depends on this. And so you hallucinate about all these things. And what I want to share with you, and like, Bill, this has been amazing. Like, I want to have you back again and 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 again. We're going to cover other topics. But like, if you're listening, I want you to know, like, there is hope on the other side. All you got to do is take small steps in the right direction. You'll be okay.
And so what if you make a mistake here and
right.
there? I've made a bunch of them earlier. I'd go back and I would not be working 5.5 days a week when I was younger. No way.
Yeah.
But and that's probably something I would tell them that are young dentists right now is, why are you working so hard?
Yeah.
I've got colleagues out there that are opening up their third practice, and I'm like, man.
Why?
But you know what? that's their passion then, and that's what they do. So I appreciate that and I respect that.
Yeah, I want to learn to play tennis.
Yeah, that's pickleball now.
I know, but I play tennis and my family makes fun of me because it looks like I'm playing badminton. I don't want a third practice. I want to learn how to play tennis. Or golf. You're going to take me golfing probably one time, and then you're going to check that box and go, "We've done that. You should probably golf with somebody else." I like to play other fairways when we're.
Well, you get the full value of your round that day.
What's your handicap? I got to know.
I have a 3.3 index.
That's ridiculous.
No,
you should be giving me golf lessons.
My wife would tell you that's because you're not in the practice working or you're not at home with the kids enough. No, I grew up, it was,
Yeah.
I'm a pretty simple guy. I got 3 passions: my family, God, my family, golf, and dentistry. I mean, that's where it's at. And so. I
noticed where you put dentistry.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Last.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Buddy, you are the best.
Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Well, I hope, we get to somebody out there that's struggling with this whole plan. I hope we can change their mind, and feel free to call me. Give them my email address, or I'm more than happy to mentor them and walk them through it.
Yeah, dude, you're the best.
Yep.
So if you're listening to the podcast and you're not taking notes, don't worry. We took notes for you. So flip up to the notes. I don't care if it's on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes. If you just flip up, you're going to see everything that Bill said. We make notes out of it. We put links in there so you can reach out to Bill. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to have you back and again. Thanks.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm honored.
Oh, it is my pleasure, and I'm crazy honored. But stick around. We say goodbye to everybody else. But thank you guys for listening or watching the Best Practices Show. I don't know. This is just fun. I love this. I love this profession. I'll leave it with one last thought. Like, this profession is incredibly noble. There's great people out there. No matter how tough you think it is, it's okay if you make one step to make things a little bit better. You can have a better practice and better life. You can work 3 days a week. You can have what you always dreamed. You just got to be around the right people or the right thinking and get the right team around you. And I promise you, there is a better place. There is a better place. So always be looking for that. So until we see you guys next time, or you hear from us next time, keep watching the Best Practices Show. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.